Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
Really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
All right, episode number 1. We're excited. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, and this is Weather Weekly. On this episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of fun stuff as we gear up for lots of interviews we're hoping for on a weekly basis here. We'll talk about who's coming up on Weather Weekly. Plus, we're talking about this historic tropical season. Already another hurricane taking aim on the Gulf. It's been record-setting, especially in Louisiana. We'll talk more about that. We also finally got some rain here in central Indiana over the last couple of weeks. An update on where we stand with the drought and a whole lot more. That's coming up next here on Weather Weekly. All right, well, we are excited here for this very first podcast episode for Weather Weekly, and I am humbly happy to be hosting this with all things weather. And it is not necessarily going to be just about central Indiana or Indiana weather, but we have the liberty of stretching the horizon here to talk about U.S. weather, North American weather, worldwide weather. We can have a lot of fun with this, and we're hoping to bring on guests each and every week to just kind of talk about what's happening worldwide. And it can be current events. It can be historical things. We got a lot of anniversaries coming up with November and severe weather, especially in the Midwest. You think about the tornadoes we had several years ago. We're getting into winter months. You start talking about some of the historical blizzards and snowstorms across the country. We want to get into all of that. We want to talk about a lot of the forecasting troubles and trials that meteorologists go through on a daily basis to kind of get you through some of these. So we've got some good guests, and we get to the tail end of this podcast. I'll give you kind of a brief synopsis of who we have at least confirmed coming up here over the next few weeks. And then we're going to kind of just play it by ear. You know, weather changes on a weekly, daily basis, and what we really want to do with this and the goal of this is to talk to people that, something just happened, and it's going to be on the mind of many when we have some of these events that go through. So we'll talk more about that. Let's kind of talk about the weather headlines right now, which there's a lot to go through. As we are recording this here in this last week of October, this will be airing in early November. As we sit right now, Zeta is a tropical storm yet to become a hurricane again in the Gulf of Mexico. But I think the bigger story here is where it's taking aim. This is going to be hitting Louisiana, it looks like, by Wednesday. That would be October 28th, sometime in the afternoon. What's interesting about that, it'll be the 5th landfalling hurricane, or named storm, I should say, in the state of Louisiana, which will break a record for that state. It also ties a record for the most in a state, and that was Florida, back in that very busy year of 2005. And this tropical season now is right on par with that active year, which is now the benchmark, 2005, for the most named storms. Now, what's interesting about that, and this is where it gets a little bit confusing when it comes to records. So this year, 2020, will go down right now as tied for the most named storms. But researchers, after the 2005 season ended, noted that there was a storm that went unnamed. So that bumped the number up by 1 there. And so we've tied the record named storms, but there's still one more out there that was not named in 2005. So as of recording this with Hurricane Zeta, we have yet to tie the complete record for 2005. I know that sounds confusing, but it does show how busy this tropical season has been. So something to watch for. By the way, hurricane season is not done until the end of November. we start kind of tailing off a little bit, but it is certainly not unheard of to get a couple more named storms as we get into the month of November. So something to watch for here. It's also interesting to note 11 named storms have hit the continental United States. That is also a record. We've also had 11 storms become hurricanes. Not all of those necessarily made landfall, but 11 storms in the Atlantic specifically have made hurricanes. So, yeah, crazy year. By the way, a lot of this information easily found by a guy that is super smart, and I'm hoping that we can get him on at some point. I know the man is probably very busy. His name's Philip Klotzbach. He is a professor and meteorologist at Colorado State University. He specializes in tropical development, and he's a great follow on Twitter. I believe you can follow him at Philip Klotzbach. And yeah, he's great. The information he pumps out when it pertains to records, stats on hurricanes or tropical development or anything like that, he's great. You should follow him. So that's the update there on Zeta. The other interesting note, and this kind of pertains to Zeta here, is this Thursday, which will be the 29th of October, we are anticipated to see the remnants of Zeta moving into central Indiana. What's interesting to note, of the 5 storms that ended up hitting Louisiana, and when usually you get in the western portions of the Gulf, we typically will see something here in central Indiana, and we really hadn't seen anything measurable with any of the rainfall from any of the prior systems. This one will be a little bit different. It looks like the heavier rain is going to leak far enough north to where there could be anywhere between 1 to 3 inches of rainfall, especially in the southern half of the state on Thursday. That's piggybacking off of the 3 inches of rain that we picked up here in central Indiana during the prior week, the middle of October. And what's interesting with that, we were over 3 inches of rainfall in Indianapolis alone. That was an inch more than we picked up in 2.5 months, dating back to basically early August 1st. Just goes to show how dry we had been, and that's why much of the state was under at least a drought, a moderate drought. And but we're making up for lost time, and that 3 inches of rain certainly is going to go help a long way. The bad news is it came late with the growing season officially ending about a week and a half ago, as temperatures did dip below freezing for the first time. Other headlines here that we're looking up on, extreme wildfires unfortunately continue in California. It's just been an extremely bad year out west. It has not helped that the Santa Ana winds have just been really ramped up over the last couple of weeks. And so you're getting new fires getting started in new locations. For example, this week, as we're recording this, and again, as I mentioned, October 27th, we had new wildfires starting just south of Los Angeles in Orange County. And in one example, there was a fire that started about 10 acres, and it expanded within a couple of hours to miles. And so firefighters out there are having a really, really tough time containing that. They need some help with rain. Doesn't look like they're going to get it. And unfortunately, it's not a surprise. This is a very dry time of year for California, but the wind situation is not going to help. They also had wildfires in northern Colorado. What ended up helping to solve that problem was the higher elevations just outside of Boulder, Colorado. Picked up anywhere between 1/2 foot and 1 foot of snow. So the cold air combined with the moisture, even though it was in the form of snow, was able to knock that out. So they're getting better, at least in that regard, in terms of the wildfires in Colorado. Quick on this date here, as we are going through this week, Halloween week, October 30th, 1996, not that long ago. 2 to 6 inches of snowfall fell across the southern half of India. I think I remember that one. Trying to navigate any of the parties. I think I would have been dating me here. This would have been either 8th grade or my freshman year of high school here. So I was done with the trick-or-treating, but I think remember my sister going out, and it was miserable. I don't think we actually got out of the car. My mom just kind of drove us around. 2 to 6 inches of snow. October 31st, 1878. Don't remember this one, but this would not have been fun. The coldest high temperature for that date on October 31st for Halloween was only 35 degrees. That's pretty ugly. Glad we're not going to be dealing with that this year. Last year was bad enough, and I still think we made it into at least the upper 30s, if not the low 40s, but trick-or-treating was not fun last year. Cold, windy, and I think it was like spits of rain and drizzle. So far better this year. By the way, in central Indiana, the average high temperature on Halloween still should be around 60 degrees. So we're starting to flip the script a little bit. We start getting a little bit colder. But we still should have some mild days. So that's what happened in weather history. Some things that we're looking ahead to here as we go on a weekly basis here. And we launch this podcast, which we are so excited about. My first guest that will be coming up next week will be my boss, our own chief meteorologist, Ashley Brown. If you have not met her before, have not seen her before, she is exceptional. She's a fantastic meteorologist. She's a great coworker. Her and I have tag team on already a few severe weather situations on air. She's a natural. She is a pro. And I want to get her perspective on just what drives her weather-wise. And that's what you're going to get a lot of here. We'll talk to a lot of meteorologists, both on air and off air. And we'll talk about, their knowledge of the subjects, but, what else drives them with this business. It's interesting because I think everybody has kind of their own niche when it comes to meteorology. So I'm excited to talk with her. We'll have a nice long conversation about just kind of her journey. She's a Ball State grad, just like myself. We were in school about the same time. And I'm excited to hear you guys to hear about her journey and to how she made it to the top here at Wish TV as the chief meteorologist. So we're really excited to be talking with her. Hopefully here in the coming weeks as well, one of my buddies from up in Delaware County, Jason Mock, he's a farmer. And I think it's an interesting conversation that we're going to have. And obviously, they're past harvest time now. This was an interesting year with a decent amount of rain early on, but obviously extremely dry. Now, it made for probably a smoother harvest, but kind of get his perspective on how that played out, the drought in the last half of this growing season. And I've known Jason for a long time. Jason is a weather nerd, and he's a good follow on Twitter. He knows a lot about the agricultural business and community, but he likes to tweet out a lot about weather, and he's right up there. He's a good follow in terms of weather, because obviously his job is key in knowing about all of that kind of stuff. So we're excited to talk to him. Also, we've got Mike Ryan from the National Weather Service in Indianapolis. We'll be talking with him here in a couple of weeks. And this one's going to be a good one here if you're a winter weather fan. Mike he's an exceptional meteorologist, but he really thrives on explaining winter weather forecast. He does this for a lot of the media here in Indianapolis and the INDOT and people that work with the public. They usually will do 2 annual meetings at the National Weather Service in Indianapolis, just kind of walking over some of the new products and the forecasts and stuff. But Mike does an exceptional job basically breaking this down in layman's terms on comparing past winter seasons to what we may see this season. And I'm not going to dive too much into it because we'll spend a whole episode on it. But those of you that are weather nerds, this is going to be a La Nina winter for North America. And so that comes with a whole host of different things depending on strength, but typically it can mean a more active winter. That doesn't necessarily mean more snow. It could mean more precip just in general. It could mean more rain. It just kind of all depends. But a lot of it depends on what else is happening up in the Arctic and other things. And again, Mike is going to break all of this down. And then when he breaks all of what's kind of happening now and where it may progress, he'll look at, top 5 years that kind of compare to that, and if there's any similarities and stuff. Mike's a great interview. I am so excited that he's going to be joining us here. So that's going to be coming down the pipe in a couple of weeks. And I think it's perfect timing because when that interview probably airs, it's going to be probably in the middle of November. We're really going to be talking about, all right, we're getting close to our first snow of the season. So it's time to start ramping up on your kind of winter weather precautions and thinking as terms of where we're flipping the script here in the Midwest and central Indiana specifically. So those are the 3 guests that we have. I have a whole bunch more that I'm still trying to work out, so I don't want to leak any names yet because I don't know where we're trying to fit them in, but a lot of interesting things that happen over the spring, and that I want to get some perspective on some of the meteorologists that actually went through some of these events. And we have some historical events as well that we'll kind of tie down and talk to some people that went through some of those things as well. Plus, we'll probably be getting a few of my buddies in here from the Storm Track 8 weather team, names you are familiar with. Ashley, obviously, we're going to be interviewing, but Tara, Stephanie, Randy, they'll all be kind of joining me sometimes and just kind of getting their perspectives on what's going on as well. So we're looking forward to all the interviews. We're looking forward to also your input. Feel free, if you have any ideas, questions that we may have never answered on air or on social media that you'd like me to address, I am all ears. That's what this podcast is for. I have no time constraints. They put me in this beautiful podcasting room. We've got a camera up and running, watching us. We're hoping maybe we could do some social media live streaming as well, but I'm by myself, so I'm not trying to entertain anybody but you. And I've got all the time in the world to try to make that happen. So if you've got something that you are interested in weather-wise, shoot me an email, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com, and let's get those ideas flowing, and we'll get some people on that know way more about that certain subject than I might. If I can't help to answer that question. So we're really looking forward to it. We're looking forward to your participation. I'm really looking forward to all the interviews that are going to be coming down the pipe here on this weekly podcast as well. We're going to wrap everything up here coming up. All right, gang, thanks for stopping by the podcast. This has been Weather Weekly from Wish TV. I'm meteorologist Marcus Bailey. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and check out new updates every week. You can also get more at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.